Night one of a momentous, massively attended 2024 NFL draft is in the books. That's right, everybody. The New England Patriots actually did the stick and pick. So much ballyhooing, so many insiders trying to tell us there would be a trade back, there would be maneuvering. All of it not true. It almost makes me want to say, Andy Hart, as we start our Six Rings in Football things after night one draft pod here on the Odyssey 2400 Sports WEI Podcasting Network. It almost kind of makes me want to say, can I have my previous 5.5 months back? Because if that's what you guys were going to do all along, and you made us talk about every possible scenario and permutation possible from the middle of November all the way up until April 25th at around 8:30 or so, you guys did exactly what we thought they probably would and should do. And now the legacies of Wolf, Mayo, and the quarterback, Drake Maye, out of the University of North Carolina, one of the most polarizing figures in all of the 2024 NFL draft. These legacies are all inextricably tied together, and they will sink or swim as a group. And I got to tell you, it's a bold choice. I think I'm on board.
It makes me want to say, I told you so. Hashtag took Drake. I've updated it for the purposes of they did it, and I'm happy. And I so eloquently put it on the radio after too many C4s, Sprites, and pizza and wings. Kraft and Mayo go together, and May and Mayo go together, and it
can't
peters
spell
out
Mayo
after
without
that.
May. Yeah, it's just a million horrendous name puns will ensue, and we're sorry, everyone. You could say, Andy, he was made for the opportunity, or made
Absolutely.
in New England. As I told you last night, unfortunately, I was not able to join the Rich Keefe Show Draft Spectacular. I was down the stadium a little too long with the season ticket member party, but I did get a chance to speak to Drake Maye with our guy Mike Riley, the Sarge. My biggest takeaway is this: if he can somehow turn his sort of country strong energy, affability, enthusiasm, and of course that physical presence, 6'4.5", 230 something, like the dude just looks like he's a piece, right? He's an absolute specimen, and he looks like he has all the prototypical skills. But if he can take that and this enthusiasm and boyish charm and turn it into on-field results over time with the right grooming and maturation, the Patriots very well could have a high-quality, high-end, modern NFL starter. We just have to, like Jerod Mayo has asked us many times, dude, preach patience. We're going to have to give him some time.
Yeah, BS. If he's not starting by October, he's a bust. But the thing I take away from draft night that really entices me, and as a veteran of this job for a long time, I understand sometimes
Thank you for your service.
What's that?
I said, thank you for your service. We appreciate it.
It is what it is. I understand that I'm sometimes spoon-fed storylines that, companies and people need to put out. But if there is any truth to what Eliot Wolf and Jerod Mayo said last night about Drake Maye and the fixation on his competitive nature, the way he handled losing, the way he refused to throw teammates under the bus, despite Eliot Wolf watching all his post-game press conferences where media in North Carolina, Chapel Hill, were trying to pull him in that direction. If any of basically the crap that people wanted from J.J. McCarthy, if any of the intangibles that they're telling me that they learned about Drake Maye, having him on visits in the building, talking to him, putting his crappy plays on the board and hearing him explain why they were crappy plays, if all of what they're selling me in that area is true, then they hit more of a grand slam than I think, because I know the other stuff. I know he's 6'4". I know he's 21 years old and has a lot of room to get to his ceiling. I know he has the ability to make plays on the run. I know he has the arm. I know all the tangibles are there.
He can give you what you have sorely lacked for years in New England, which is highlight plays, charisma, star power. He's he threw one with his left hand in the end zone, like he made him a Mahomes play.
Yeah, go back and watch the way he runs. My Josh Allen comparisons are true. Suck on that, Bill Belichick. It's been true all along.
Whoa,
if you knew how good Josh Allen was.
Whoa. Just because he hasn't been your employer or boss for years, and or he's now not in charge of everything.
Never my boss. Excuse me. Never my boss. Was my coworker.
You worked for Kraft Sports.
Coworker.
Like I freelance.
Both our checks said RKK on the bottom.
Well, it said it, but it's like it's about as legible as Tom Brady's now contested signature on those seats as well. It's a laser printing. We'll get to Bill Belichick and what he said on the Pat McAfee show, both how he performed in general, let alone what he said about Drake Maye in a couple of minutes. Also, just a side note, Andy, gotta say, it being able to interview some of the current players, some former players, and seeing some other guys like Pop Douglas and Kendrick Bourne last night at the stadium, talking to the fans before the draft party and everything, which was very well attended. I know you guys had great engagement on the radio, big show, big party last night. So we were all doing our job last night. I got to say, again, everything that everyone keeps saying about like different air in the building, cooperative, collaborative. Do you think the previous director of scouting, as they call Eliot Wolf, would have stopped? I had a chance to interview him for a couple minutes on stage. Holy smokes. I'd let that guy operate on my wife and my kids. He is so calm and unflappable. No, he just, you know what I mean? Like he has that demeanor, like you would trust him.
Absolutely. Well, I said going in beforehand,
Easy.
I have full faith in Eliot Wolf until he gives me a reason not to.
Hell yeah.
He was literally bred for this.
Mm-hmm.
He has a resume that says, yeah, it's his time. He's earned this opportunity. I like the tone of everything. If we're being honest, Robert Kraft, Jerod Mayo, Eliot Wolf have all had a lot of chances to speak this offseason. Eliot Wolf has done the best job of the three, and it's not close.
If you're watching on YouTube, I have my hands extended as wide as the pixelated frame will allow. Like
right.
he is halfway. He's like halfway around the track before they just got out of the starting gates.
And he played the game. He was open for business, sort of. But the fact is, from what I was told, the Minnesota Vikings bowed out earlier in the day. They weren't going to, their owner would not allow them to mortgage their future, to bring the bag. And
they were very interested. They were definitely very interested. I heard the same thing, that it was almost a deal, but then they couldn't, that last something
they wouldn't go the extra mile. And I'm not trading my franchise QB. I have fallen in love. When you reach the point where Eliot Wolf is watching every press conference that Drake Maye does, when he's like to that minutia, you're all in on this guy. And now they said they knew for a long time it was going to go Williams and Jaden Daniels, that the question was, do we want Drake Maye? That's the guy that's going to be on the board, or do we want J.J. McCarthy? They played it right because there was a run on quarterbacks. You trade down to 11. If you thought you were going to get J.J. at 11, you won't get J.J. at 11. The way it all went. 6 in the first
12. 6 in the first. Still mind-blowing to me.
So I believe someone has told you ad nauseum, and I don't necessarily like that it works this way. It's all about the quarterback. It really just is. Like, it's that simple. I hate to oversimplify a game I love that is the greatest team game ever, an 11 on 11, and, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, and all these cliches that we lived as high school football players. It's now, hey, who's your quarterback? Because that's all that really matters to the foundation of any football team, and that's why I feel so good about the Patriots today, because what you said, they have a tent pole that is really high. That tent pole, we now have this big cover in New England and Patriot Nation where everybody can succeed underneath that tent pole. That's what a franchise quarterback brings. And for now, on April 26th, they have a franchise quarterback. I don't know where they'll be, because guess what? Today, a year ago, the Carolina Panthers thought they had a franchise quarterback. And then somewhere along the line, they were like, hey guys, this guy not so good. And the converse happened in Houston, right? They hoped they had a franchise quarterback, and by God, they had more than what they hoped they were getting, because they wanted Bryce Young. So, like, the honeymoon is now, right? The honeymoon is right now. Enjoy this. You have hope again. You have reason to be excited about the new. Hey, I just went to try to order my son a damn North Carolina Drake Maye jersey, and they only have XLs and 2XLs now. They're like, those are sold out. Like,
oh, it makes all the sense. You're going to see those everywhere. And again, all of those things, I want to get to those sort of like marketing angles, those extracurriculars, the popularity that's going to ensue, how quickly fans will love him, and the reasons why Jerod Mayo and Eliot Wolf also went the extra mile to figure out if he had what it takes to get it done in the NFL, and B, this new tent pole, the foundation upon which this new iteration of the Patriots will be built. However, you mentioned Carolina, and I just had to share a tweet I read this morning, which just absolutely floored me. This is from, I'm not kidding, this is from Thursday in the it's from 6:52 p.m. on Thursday the 25th in the greater Charlotte area. Some random dude, Sarah Spain from ESPN, retweeted it. Panthers owner David Tepper just stopped inside to have a word with the owners at this restaurant about the sign out front. This is not a joke. I'll show you, Andy. You can read clearly what it says right there. This restaurant put a sign out front that said, "Please let the coach and GM pick this year." And he's so thin-skinned and sensitive that he stopped by and went inside and had a word with them. To which I would say, well, I hope when he was seated, sensitive party of one, he didn't throw a drink on any of the customers. Be thankful, Patriots fans, for all the issues you have with your ownership, with management, how you received the docuseries, the dismissal of Bill Belichick, and everything else. You don't have someone that gets involved to that kind of degree level and possibly sets your franchise back 5 years with his arrogance and his involvement. So there.
Well, but to some degree, I agree with Eliot Wolf. He joked at the end of their joint press conference last night that, the collaborative so far has been easy because we both agreed, like we haven't reached adversity. We haven't reached where we're butting heads. Right. And I would include whatever people think of Jonathan and Robert Kraft and whatever fingers they have in this operation right now. I think everybody was on board with Drake Maye. It's like I've been saying it forever. Field Yates wrote it in his final mock that there were 3 franchise quarterbacks. You're taking the guy who falls to you. Like, that was the reality. There were 3 sort of grouped among themselves. Now there ended up being 6 in the top 12, which is a different topic. But
so those other teams believe, and what the hell the Atlanta Falcons were thinking or doing, God only knows.
Well,
you think Belichick would have taken Penix?
Boss man, I took this guy here because that video is awesome.
Oh, it's incredible. It is an incredible piece of all that. There's some great content that got out from last night. Maybe Terry Fontenot having to explain the Penix pick to Arthur Blank in the war room. Whoa. Oh, it is cringe theater at its absolute finest.
And your quarterback who's never stepped on a football field putting out a statement, "We were not made aware of this." I don't really like. Kirk Cousins and his agent are pissed off. Like, they feel like
he's got $100 million to go potentially have his backup take the job from him next year.
Well, and the bigger issue for me is I think I signed with you not just for the money. Obviously, the $180 million helps. But I signed with you because you told me basically you're fully invested in turning this around quick. You think you have a Super Bowl ready roster. I'm the veteran QB you need. Well, then you should be investing in said roster. If you want us to jump to the Super Bowl caliber level and contend, give me a player that can help me at number 8, not a freaking backup that you want me to mentor.
Honest to God, how does, if you're going to reach for Cooper DeJean, if you're going to get Byron Murphy to blow up the defensive line, if you want to get Rome Odunze, who was taken 1 pick later at 9 by the Bears. Side note, Chicago Bears, congratulations. You have a legitimate fantasy football offense for the first time in your storied franchise's career. You roll out of bed with Caleb Williams, DeAndre Swift, Cole Kmet. Oh, and your receiver trio of DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, and now Rome Odunze. What? I mean, the NFC North might very well end up being, Andy, what we had hoped the AFC West would have been 2 years ago.
They're all making the playoffs?
They're at least 2 of those teams. I think the Packers are a Super Bowl contender. The Lions very well could be. And if Caleb Williams plays half as well as he screams when he gets on stage with the commissioner as the first overall pick with that kind of offense, NFC North should be an absolute rip and a blast this year. Back to what you were talking about real quick before we get into some of the other evening's affairs. I had a chance to speak with Mike Reese beforehand. I saw all those people last night at the draft party. I saw all those people, the insiders that were saying, I'm hearing it's JJ, all the sharp money is coming in Vegas on JJ now. I still believe that their interest in JJ McCarthy, or their faith in him being a plus level NFL starter and a good piece to develop and work with, is real. But it's those extra little things with somebody who feels a little more long-term but can't miss in Drake Maye that I think did honestly end up selling Eliot Wolf, Jerod Mayo, the Kraft family, and beyond. Like, the fact that I know Mayo and he bonded, hung out one day, and Mayo fell in love with him, thinks he's a complete dude. But Wolf going through the tapes and the post games, and the fact that some UNC beat writer, someone told me down there yesterday, said, like, one thing I can tell you, I don't know how he's going to be able to translate his skill size and his strength to the pro game. Everyone in that locker room loves him. He is the most beloved member of that. Well, these are some of the things that I hate to say it. In addition to not being able to probably get a Drake Maye jersey unless you take your Garoppolo or your Mac Jones, and like fans were doing at the stadium last night and pinning a May over it, it might be difficult for a while. But how many times have we talked on this very podcast or on the radio together about how this team has so sorely lacked a star, someone to get excited about, someone who's going to put asses in the seats, someone to get the kids excited so that my kid, when I tell him it's on wear a jersey to school day, I say, don't forget you have a Mac Jones that fits you. And he goes, Dad, I'm not wearing my Mac Jones jersey to school. I don't want to get made fun of.
Nope.
Yeah. That's where
no,
we're at.
Everything changed last night around 8:30 for Patriot Nation, for the present and for the future. And jobs, careers are based on that pick. That's just the reality. And right now, there's no reason to doubt it. Like, the more information, sometimes the more information you get, you're like, oh, didn't know that. That would have been nice to know 5 minutes ago or something. Like, the more information.
Hey, what's that tattoo on our new kicker's forearm?
Right, exactly. And like, the worst thing I can say about Drake Maye is there was a couple weird answers in his post-draft press conference. But if that's the worst thing that happens to him, like, I mean, they all had it.
SpaceX.
Caleb Williams also had a questionable answer where he basically said about the comparisons with Patrick Mahomes, like, I don't see anything he does that I can't do. And it's like, okay, pump the brakes, buddy. Settle down, buddy. You're talking about the greatest start to an NFL career a quarterback has ever had. So how about you pump the brakes before you take one snap in a rookie minicamp about yourself? So I've said this all along, and this is 2 years in a row where we leave the draft excited, and we were right last year, or we think we were right. He was the rookie of the September, the whole thing. He played 3.5 games, so I'd like to see him play maybe 7 games or whatever.
We were excited about the pick. We were not excited about the team. I think there's a big difference now. I do think, and we'll get to 2 other things we want to get to here on this Friday morning reaction pod to night 1 of the NFL draft. We'll get to some other highlights of the night and some other big takeaways, things that caught our eye, and then we'll have a quick peek coming up in just a minute or two on who's still available and who we could see the Patriots get after and how they might do so, because there is a lot of first-round talent still available at the very top of the second round, and obviously the New England Patriots have a bunch of needs. But we were excited about Christian Gonzalez, not so much about the team. I'm both draft pick excited, I'm individually excited, and I'm also a little more excited about the team. Like, I really do, with the more relaxed and energetic air at the stadium and about the team, and a quarterback that's going to get everyone pumped up, not have everyone on eggshells because he's going to snap at a moment's notice because he's still pissed off that the coach was hard on him and he had a defensive coordinator for an offensive coordinator. All the sins of the past are gone. It's a whole new vibe. Like you just said, everything changed at 8:30 last night. So I'm a little more excited about the entire franchise going forward. Doesn't mean they're going to be in the playoffs this year or even next year, but I'm a little more enthusiastic and optimistic, Andy.
And so is the head coach, who snuck in a line in the middle of his press conference last night to the, I don't know the exact word, but it was, I know some people want to write us off. He's already got a little, this swagified Jerod a little bit. I know some want to write
some receipts down there.
A little bit. He's not writing back just yet. And they are preaching patience. You know, there's a balance, patience with, but don't write us off. Like, we're going to compete, and we now got a quarterback, and we think we can do some things. So I like that vibe, and it's just, it's Drake Maye, and it's fun again. It's fun to have hope. And if we can transfer the fun and hope we had for Gonzo to Maye, the value of the position magnifies it. Like, the way we were, you couldn't be excited about a team because of quarterback. Now, there's other issues. Like, last year, we were excited about the offensive coordinator. Well, that didn't exactly work out. This year, I have major doubts about the offensive coordinator. And guess what? I don't want to be a Debbie Downer later in the podcast here, but if Alex Van Pelt sucks, that's tough for Maye to overcome. He can't overcome that if that's not good.
That's a salient point. However, at the same time, I've been saying this for months, and I'm going to stick with it as well. I am way less about the offensive system and what kind of play calling wizardry Van Pelt, McAdoo, and company are going to bring to the table. Way more into the idea, like, if you guys are here for 2 years and all you do is just make sure that Drake Maye gets this footwork that everyone can't shut the F up about down pat, and make him a pro level quarterback and coach out some of his, pocket escapability, help him read defenses better, and just groom him properly, I'm fine with it. Whatever. Maybe, that's what I'm most concerned with.
I need more than that, because I'm going to ask you a simple question. Who are the 3 greatest coaches of the last quarterbacks of the last 20 years? There's 3 simple answers.
It's Manning, Mahomes, and Brady.
Yeah. And you know what they all had in common? They never learned a new scheme.
Yeah, they stayed in the same scheme the whole time. Gee whiz, I wonder why the Jacksonville rapper broke.
Right. So I really,
4 coordinators in 4 years.
you can't overemphasize. It's pretty important for there to be stability from Van Pelt and the scheme and the organization. Even if you think Drake Maye is Josh Allen talent, he needs some stability. So that is my one trepidation of reality, I guess I'll call it, is that if Alex Van Pelt, who, let's be honest, he was maybe their dozenth candidate for the job and was passed over for a lot of years in terms of being a coordinator in the NFL. If he's not the guy, that is problematic. But that's a different conversation for a different day when I see his scheme and what he's doing on the field. For right now, go order your jerseys, whether it's UNC because you're taking XL or 2XL, or pre-order your Patriots jersey. He will be on the field in Foxborough today. There is no reason to be anything other than hopeful and optimistic. And all you people out there, there's a small vocal minority, you people on Twitter that
took
think
21 minutes in. I'm proud of you. It took till 21 minutes.
Staying positive, but I see these videos, or I see, we'll be picking a new QB in 3 years or 2 years. Okay, maybe. But why you got to be like that? Because they took an obvious franchise caliber quarterback with potential who's 21 at the top of the draft. Embrace it. Enjoy it. Like, there's no reason to be negative on this Friday in April. It's only positivity.
Yeah, and also look at this. It's gorgeous outside. The sun is shining. Spring is here. You may be cooking outside. We got lots more. They're not done. There could be 7 new players. You may get a wide receiver or 2 you've always wanted. They might draft an offensive lineman to protect his blind side. Who knows? I mean, the
sun is shining on Patriot Nation, literally and figuratively. Bask in it. Put some sunscreen on and bask in it. Stare right at it with your frickin' solar eclipse goggles.
Listen to grumpy uncles Fitzy and Andy. Be happy, for Christ's sakes, for him.
Yes. Believe me.
What I say?
There's plenty of time to be negative. There's always plenty of time to be negative. When the opportunity arises to be nothing but positive, grasp it and enjoy it. And I'm going to do that because I haven't slept.
Yeah, exactly. The energy, you might be saying like, Fitzy, Hart, you guys seem pretty high energy considering you're both operating on about 4 hours of sleep. We are. Our veins are coursing with caffeine.
Oh my God.
Shortly after this, I am going to crash. So
unhealthy levels.
Face plant on the kitchen floor. Real quick. Another couple things before we wrap it. Highlights, nuggets, and takeaways from last night as well. Again, the Penix pick, one of the worst. Like, I part of me now hopes he takes the job. Also, let's give our flowers to the Field Yateses, the Mike Reeses, the Tom Currans, who all said it was going to be stick and pick the last couple of days. Good job, boys. You were right in the end. You were right. And now we've got a new quarterback of the future and a franchise, hopefully, upon which can be built. His big, broad, strong country shoulders. Belichick on McAfee as well. There's a couple of videos that are circulating around the Weboverse this morning. One is a hilarious story about how long it took to trade for Randy Moss and the story behind that, which is great. And
had you never heard that before?
I had heard some of it, but the depth of the story, flying him out there, getting him in for the examination, Moss being so excited to get out of Oakland that he flew himself on a plane out to meet Belichick and take a physical in the morning so that they could get the deal done by noon. No, it's great. But the manner in which Belichick tells it has people saying 2 things now. A, how the hell and why wasn't he more like this with all of us when he was the head coach around here? I think you can probably speak to that a bit more. And also B, I think it gets people really excited for the contributions that he's going to add to the Manning cast now that he's signed a deal with Omaha Productions to be a regular, not in every single Manning cast episode contributor, but I think he's going to be on a bunch with Peyton and Eli this fall. And the manner in which he conducted himself Thursday night from the clips I watched, I'm kind of fired up.
Absolutely. As much as I can criticize him for the Allen specific or May specific, the overall totality of his performance,
right?
I want to see more of that. He even looked good, by the way. Somebody was like, Belichick, new hair? And I was like, I think they just have good hair and makeup. Like, I think.
Thank you very much, producer Justin Turpin, in our chat box as well. He is also going to be part of McAfee. Oh, man, this is great. Media Bill.
Well, why wouldn't he? I mean, McAfee gives him the grab, the tuck, the tickle, the reacher, whatever you want to call it.
And then makes him and says, no, you stay in bed. I'll make the sandwich and I'll light your cigarette.
He massages the grapes and he soaks the cork. He does everything he needs.
But it's great. And for all of us too, like, I feel like my Bill quotient, like, I love Bill Belichick with many fibers in my body, and I'm super grateful for everything. And now I feel like I'm getting the best Belichick. I wasn't able to appreciate the high level at which Tom Brady played with Tampa, especially in 2020, the way that I wish I could have, because I was still, well, we're all staying at home and we were losing our minds, but mostly just because I was so torn between the divorce and I was in kind of an emotional glass case, if you will. Whereas now it's sort of like, well, I'm sorry it ended the way it did, but man, I'm really happy Belichick's in his bag and doing his thing now, because there is no one that you can learn more from quickly. But Andy, would you please explain to the audience? You just said, despite his May and Allen comments last night, what did he say last night that sort of, I won't say laid a hair across your ass, but like definitely sort of like put a bird in your saddle?
So, Drake Maye has said that he kind of models himself after Josh Allen. And I've told you, I think it's an apt comparison. I think the physical skill set and size, speed, athleticism, can run. The whole thing's there. To Josh Allen coming into the league, not the Josh Allen that has evolved into the MVP candidate on an annual basis in Buffalo. And Bill kind of poo-pooed. He's like, I don't know about that kid, kind of thing. Well, Bill, you didn't buy into Josh Allen when Josh Allen was an MVP candidate. We all remember the famous story where Louis Riddick and Brian Greasy on ESPN kind of outed some information that Bill had said in a production meeting in a December of year 3 Josh Allen game against the Patriots, where they basically said Bill's not buying the hype of Josh Allen. Now all of a sudden he's like, Drake Maye shouldn't be No. You were late to the party on Josh Allen. Just admit it. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Acknowledge it. And that's where it made me wonder if this was all just kind of part of the Kraft Belichick divorce thing going on. A little project, because it's funny. Paul Perillo, I drove home last night, called Paul, since we're both wired driving home from the stadium.
By the way, just want to let you know, I took a photo for you. I forgot to send it to you. So where I was posted up in the GP atrium, Patriots Unfiltered, your old crew, was a little further down, but still on that gorgeous new bar underneath the super scoreboard with the windows out onto Foxborough. It was Perillo, Deuce, Lazar, Tamara, and company. And then there was Fred Kirsch in the middle. Are you ready for this? In a tuxedo.
Yeah, I saw. And Paul told me. And
nothing. I got to tell you, honestly, nothing more adorable than Fred Kirsch in a tuxedo.
He's the best. He's the best. Well done, Fred. Love it. But when I told Paul what Bill had said, he goes, what? That fraud? Oh, now he loves Josh Allen? Now he forgets about how he was like.
Good point.
So that has to be part of the reaction. Other than that, I loved it. Before we start to wrap this up, I did want to bring around the Patriots did try to trade back into the first round. They were on the phone with the Buffalo Bills. They believe they offered more to the Bills than the Chiefs did. They think the Bills just didn't want to trade inside the division
100%.
With the Patriots.
What do you think they wanted then? And if the Chiefs went after, and I think you guys made a good point in the radio, like, you know, the Chiefs go for that speed, but like, is Xavier Worthy going to be the sure-handed target that Patrick Mahomes needs as Travis Kelce ages out of the league? I mean,
they seem to lust after the speed guy in Kansas City. They seem to love. They're like the modern Al Davis, like, just give me the fast guy and Mahomes will make it work kind of thing.
You just got Hollywood Brown, who is faster than, you know.
So it's interesting. For me, it's A.D. Mitchell. If I were trading into that spot, for me, it was A.D. Mitchell. I do think an argument can be made. We've talked a lot about it. Sneaky need, cornerback, and Cooper DeJean on the board from Iowa, could play free safety or corner. Like, that's best player available. I think that could have been a consideration there. But I know because a lot of people are fixating on Eliot Wolf's words that said something to the effect of, like, we want to add more picks, or we could add picks.
But we've also heard weaponize the offense. We know we have NFL players, but we need someone to come in outside.
Down. Don't just assume. They were trying to trade up, which means they were going to give up picks to move up to get players. And I love it. I love that he is saying one thing, but also doing the other. Like, I think he has his eyes wide open and he evaluates opportunities as they fly by. So again, I have full trust in what Eliot Wolf is doing. I don't think he's closing his mind to any opportunity to help his team.
No, I called in the one time I had a chance to chat with you guys. I called in last night, fresh off the stage, when Jerod Mayo said, stay tuned in the later round. You know, we want to get back in there as well. It was a nice little nugget he gave the fans. unfortunately, they were not able to, and it would make a lot of sense that Buffalo rebuffed the Patriots offer, even if the Patriots offered more than Kansas City, because if the Pats had their eyes on Adonai Mitchell or Xavier Legette or whomever, and we should have known that the Panthers were going to go after Legette, they were going to go and Legette him, because Dave Canales admitted it the other day. A story leaked out that Canales told Legette, if you're available at 33, we're going to get you. And they were so sure about it. And then he had to try to backpedal and explain it. Turns out they wanted him so much so that they were willing to go up one spot and make sure they could secure his services for 5 years. I think that's a great pick for Carolina, who's in desperate need of offensive talent and a spark to go along with Bryce Young, who had a wicked rookie season. So who do you like today? What are we doing at 34? You got to wait for Buffalo to make their first pick. You're probably nervous they're going to take Mitchell.
Oh, I think the nightmare in the AFC is Mitchell would have been landing in Kansas City or landing in Buffalo. You don't want Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes with a guy that I think could be the Justin Jefferson type, where you're like, wait a minute, why did that guy go so late? I thought he was going to be in the 20s like Jefferson. Now he's going to go in the early 30s, second round pick. I think he can be a stud. But if I'm the Patriots, there's a couple ideas here. I don't hate the idea of taking Cooper DeJean at 34, and then you know what I'd be doing? I'd be looking to trade back in, because I think there's a group of receivers they still like that includes Mitchell, but there's others. Your guy, Ladd McConkey, still in the mix. So I personally would love to see them take the best player available at 34 and then move up from the third back into the second to get whatever else is available. Now, I was told that they cut the tackles they liked are kind of all gone. So I know people see tackle as a major need, and it obviously is, but you can't just take it if you don't think the guy that you're taking at 34 is going to be starting caliber, is going to be ready to go. So I actually think it's between wide receiver and defense right here at 34.
I heard last night at the stadium, and I relayed this to you guys, but it didn't bear any fruit because they didn't get back in the first round, nor was he selected, that they're high on Kool-Aid McKinstry as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe
I don't like him as much.
Yeah, but he was a first team AP All-American. Like,
we've talked about it. I do not hate the idea of getting a corner. I think it's a house of cards again. I think there's concern.
Cooper DeJean though, like he can
people would like him.
What's that?
You people would like him.
Oh, everyone should understand that was a racially charged comment Andy made towards me.
You know what my new thing is? When someone says, I like Cooper DeJean, I say racist. When someone says, I don't like Cooper DeJean, I say racist.
Wow.
I can say racist.
You do the same for does that make Shime a racist for not liking my boy, Ladd McConkey?
Yeah, you just throw it out there.
Jeez.
We need more throwing out of racist in this world.
Oh, that's just what we need. We had such a good podcast. You had to go on Andy Hart it up right at the end, didn't you? Son of a gun. Yeah, a lot of talent available. Ricky Pearsall went early.
I liked him, but I don't know if I like him in the first round.
At 31. Well, hey, listen, that's not our bag, and that's not our issue to worry about, because if that means they're like, oh, we can just draft Pearsall, we have control of him financially for 5 years. Now we can move on from Ayuk, who wants $30 million a season. Then by all means, Eliot, just give a call and see if that 34th overall can land you a stud, because if he becomes the sure-handed target for your developing stud franchise quarterback, I'm fine. I'm all in.
Here's another theory that pal Paul Perillo floated to me.
Pat's pal Paul.
Don't be surprised if San Francisco likes Ayuk and wants to keep Ayuk, and the guy that gets traded is Debo.
Between the two, I would definitely want Ayuk, because I think Debo has taken some big hits, and I think
that's what the 49ers think too.
They're not, and Pearsall and Ayuk would be a perfect combination for Brock.
Would you take Debo
for a third round price? Yes. A second round pick? No.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I'd rather have Ayuk, and it's hard for me to get off that spot now and be like, you want to get rid of Debo, so I'm going to take Debo. I don't know that I would do that either, but I would keep an eye on that market, the trade market today, whether it's T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel. We're still waiting for one of those to happen.
Couple people, I know. Real quick, and we'll wrap it here. A couple of people I had in my weei.com piece, 10 targets for the Patriots day 2. Andy mentioned AD Adonai Mitchell, the receiver from Texas. Cooper DeJean, who can play all over the formation, is a playmaker in the secondary as well. Jackson Powers Johnson still on the board. Not that interior offensive line is a need, but when someone plays that big, that strong, and that nasty, just saying, best available.
I'll boo that pick.
Braden Fisk, defensive lineman out of Florida
kinda
State.
like him.
Malachi Corley, the receiver
I like
out of
him a lot.
Western. I don't think he's going to make it to 3. I love Javon
He's
Baker and
the
Malachi
guy.
Corley.
No. He's the guy. If I take Cooper DeJean at 34, I would trade back up into the second round to get Malachi.
I would have a big smile on my face by about 9:00 tonight if someone said, you've got a corner that can play safety and also likes blitzing and is a great run stuffer. And he's going to pair beautifully with Gonzo and an amazing secondary for the future. Oh, and we just went and got this kid at Western Kentucky that everyone says is like a faster, stronger Debo.
Yes, I'd be smoking a cigar and going golfing. And then when somebody yells, who's playing tackle, I'd say, shut the F up.
Few tackles out there like Blake Fisher, Kingsley Suamatia, finally got that name right. And there's other receivers too. And of course, Blake Corum and Marshawn Lloyd at running back. So, all right, folks, we went a little longer than expected, but we can't help it. We're over caffeinated. We're overstimulated. And for the first time in God knows how long, we're overjoyed at the prospects, future, and potential of your New England Patriots. Thanks for listening, as always, to the Six Rings and Football Things podcast. Great job, Turpin. Everyone at WEEI and Odyssey who's contributed to a huge draft spectacular and an awesome draft season. We are now on to the future in Foxborough. No more lamenting the past. Andy and I will actually be back Friday night live sometime, I don't know, between 9 and 10:30. We'll do a Six Rings live. So get your cold beverages. We'll have a couple as well with you guys, and we'll go through rounds 2 and 3 and have a free, open, unfiltered forum. Saturday, 12 to 3, we're on the flagship station, WEEI, to talk about the first 2 days of the draft, all your Drake Maye thoughts, and of course, rounds 4 through 7 as the Patriots put a bow on what we hope is a continued successful draft. For Hart, for Terp, and everyone at EEI and Odyssey, this is your old pal Nick Fitzy Stevens saying, huzzah! We finally have a quarterback. Good day. God bless. It's a beautiful time to be a Patriots fan. And as always, go Pats.